Okay, so we are back again. The first stream got cut off due to technical difficulties for some reason. So I was talking about how I believe that Bitcoin and XRP have this like relationship where Bitcoin used to be worshipped as this thing of inherent value because of Michael Saylor, and now I think that XRP being promoted to Bitcoin will leave an opening. So I start to wonder, could Flare, FLR, can Flare be the new XRP? Could Flare right now at underneath 3 cents, could it be the new XRP? Could buying Flare now at 3 cents, knowing that it's already connected to XRP through smart contracts, which XRP did not have before, allegedly, could Flare take a good chunk of that market and the value of that Flare token skyrocketing? And people say, well, that can never happen because Flare has an inflationary model. You know, if they seem to run out, they'll just make more. Now, but there's something that I read a while back where the Flare network actually has a mechanism to switch to a deflationary model. And they've once burned off, I could have sworn they once burned off a huge chunk of supply, but I could be thinking about something completely different. So I started thinking how buying Flare right now could actually be a really good move for the long term, because Flare's not just connected to XRP, which is connected to, what is it, 3,000 banks around the globe. You know, so Flare being able to tap into whatever XRP is tapped into already is already going to be, light years above anything that could take Flare's spot. So I think that Flare is working on something in the background, because in terms of bringing smart contracts to the XRP ledger, that spot was already taken by Flare. So I wanted to give a shout out to the 2 people that joined. We had technical difficulties earlier. Hello, Blockprint Studios. Thank you for the hello. I'm talking about the cryptocurrency XRP and Flare. So come on in, hit the like button. Let's get it in. Let's get it going. Get it as in get the like button in there. Yeah, I appreciate it. So I'm talking about XRP right now. So what takes XRP's spot when XRP gets promoted as if it were a corporate employee? Think about it. So David Schwartz just left Ripple, right? So David Schwartz has resigned from Ripple, and he's going to be some kind of bigwig somewhere else. So who or what takes David Schwartz's position, or does the CTO position just get erased because it's not needed anymore? What happens at Ripple in this case? And that leaves me wondering, what takes, if XRP is taking Bitcoin's spot, and it's a move that's happening in slow motion, and I have some information to supplement that. So that creates an opening where XRP's spot used to be. So what takes XRP's spot? It is my opinion and my theory that Flare takes that spot because of the connections that Flare built in complete secrecy, because that's what smart business does. And again, just in the spirit of transparency, I do hold some Flare. So I'm not so much a cheerleader as much as a theorist that's looking for the best place to park the most amount of money and get the most amount of tokens for the value of the fiat that I'm exchanging for those tokens. So I thoroughly believe, hello, Soft Lock, welcome to the stream. So I'm still thinking, well, if there's an open position where XRP used to be, when it gets moved to a whole new position, well, then what takes XRP's spot? What is the next investment opportunity after XRP? Because XRP will not be $3 forever, and I got in way earlier than $3. I think I've essentially 7x'd my investment since the presidential election. and it's still running. So, I'm pretty chilling right now. Actually, yeah, just a little more than 7x, a little less than 8x to my money. And I'm not satisfied with that, because that amount of money still means that I got to work, and I'm not trying to work any more than I have to. Like, I want one cash out or one borrow against my asset and whatever. Anyway, all that being said, I'm not going to say how much XRP I have. I'm just saying I'm an XRP holder, and I do want XRP to do well. And I think XRP is going to destroy everyone's expectations because of the next piece of information. So this information does not come from me. It came from another crypto channel that I was watching. So, and when it comes down to XRP, the current $3 price tag is built on lies. Or I should say, the current XRP tag is built on a false supposition, which is that I think the circulating supply is between 56 to 60 billion. So what it's assuming is that there's 60 billion tokens from people that all want to sell their tokens. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true either. So, and the reason why I don't believe that it's true is because so the numbers that make XRP $3 in these algorithms assumes that everybody wants to sell their tokens. So, and that's not true. So there's crypto tokens, there are XRP tokens that are locked up in in different financial institutions. There are people who have diamond hands that are never going to sell. There are so many variables, and there's people where there's actually less XRP available on the open market as opposed to what the algorithm says that there is. So the algorithm has built this lie that people believe that XRP is that 60 billion XRP is looking to be sold back to the market. That's not true. What up, Killuminati? Says regular people can't afford a Bitcoin, bro. It's a rich man's game. I agree, and thank you for the human comment, because I'm really hating the bots that be coming up in my chat. So thank you so much for your comment. And I'm only talking about Bitcoin from the aspect of, once Bitcoin's been moved out of the way because it's a clunky POS coin, what takes Bitcoin's spot? And Forbes and Bloomberg, Killuminati, they actually gave you the answer years ago and back in 2023 that XRP is the new Bitcoin. So I kept on thinking, well, if Bitcoin's being moved out of the way and XRP takes its spot, what takes XRP's spot when it's been, quote unquote promoted? This is something that I think is worthy of discussion. So I've been thinking about this and tossing it over in my mind over and over again. And I said, I really think that Flare is going to take XRP's spot once XRP has made a move into Bitcoin's position. Right now, no one's making much of any return from Bitcoin. Definitely not retail. And I think that's a fact, not an opinion. So nobody is. How could anyone afford a Bitcoin when most millennials don't even have $400 for an emergency expense? How? So how could anyone afford $100K or $115,000 for one Bitcoin? 1/10 of one Bitcoin, that's about $12,000, give or take. And that's not even counting fees from the exchanges. So how's anyone supposed to afford that? Nobody can. Now think about XRP, though. It's been built on the lie that all the circulating supply is up for grabs. That's not true. That's actually false, Killuminati. I don't know if you're still in the chat right now, but that's what I'm trying to tell people, is that it is a lie that all 60 billion tokens or whatever the circulating supply is up for grabs. No, it's not. There's people in the XRP community that said that they're never selling their XRP. There's been something that went around in terms of finance, in terms of how the rich get richer. And it's based on the idea of buying an asset, waiting for it to appreciate, borrow against that appreciating asset, and then use the borrowed money to go make more money so that you never have to sell the underlying asset. And that is going to be alarm bells that will result in a supply shock for XRP. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that when the time comes, there's going to the institutions that get into XRP later than others, that is, they're going to be in a position where they're not going to be able to have the savings that they think, because most people are not going to be selling their XRP. They're going to say, I'll borrow against it, but I'm never going to sell, because I know that instant I sell, the institutions will have all their little secret meetings, and that's when when XRP's price will 100x to some unaffordable level, and retail will once again will have been crushed out. These are the kinds of games that have been played over and over again, because, as I said in one other live, I said, when in doubt, Larry Fink always lies every single time. When in doubt, Michael Saylor always lies. I don't know what the lie is, but he comes off as a dishonest dude to me. That's all I'm saying. If you're a Bitcoin fan, cool. You do what you got to do. If you're making money, good on you. Bars, like, good on you if you're making money with Bitcoin. I know very well that I can't afford Bitcoin. The fees would eat me alive. So I know I'm never going to buy Bitcoin, ever. It's inconceivable that I would even go after Ethereum, which is what, $4,000 right now, $3,000. Again, most millennials don't have $400 for an emergency expense, let alone $3,000 to buy one Ethereum token, and the gas fees will make it more expensive than the coin itself. So Ethereum is out for that reason. So I haven't heard anything about the gas fees in a couple of years, but no one can afford those gas fees for Ethereum. So again, Bitcoin's going to go fall out because it's too clunky, slow. It's been hacked multiple times. Ethereum's going to be kicked out because it's too expensive. That puts XRP right up in that spot. And when XRP moves to the number one position, what moves to the number two position? Because Ethereum used to be, as far as I heard, Ethereum was built on a lot of people taking it and building like all sorts of tokens on that particular blockchain, and but a lot of them were meme coins from people that wanted to do a get rich quick scheme. From what I heard, that's what I heard. So if Ethereum, once the truth about Ethereum has been found out, what do you think people are going to do next? If you're smart money, you're going to bounce. I've already seen this game moves ahead. Every single thing that I said offline to my family and a couple friends, they all came back to me just 4 days ago and said, you called it, as in me. They said, you called it. I said, of course I did. I saw the game. Every single time there's a bad article about XRP and stuff like that, and now all those people that were, quote unquote hating, I don't like using that word, but all the detractors, they effectively have been silenced. And now that a couple of days ago, the SEC has removed the regulatory barrier for crypto-related ETFs, that's going to bring even more money in. All institutions have to do is do their business, and they're going to start setting up their paperwork. They're going to follow their S1s, which is what is it called? A general listing standard, a GLS for short. And boom, they're off to the races, because they don't need that complicated paperwork anymore. So I say again, what takes XRP's spot when all these ETFs, they buy the underlying asset? I'm talking about spot ETFs. What takes XRP's spot? So in other words, what is a good investment to get into that already has connections right now? It's my theory that Flare is that token. And I'll take advantage of the low prices. Take advantage of it. It might not always be there. So I rather risk a few $100, like I'll say once every other month, and I'd rather just gather on the risk and see what happens. So that was just my thoughts for this morning. I'm at my destination now after driving, but I want to know what people think generally. So I want to thank Killuminati for giving me a real comment and not giving me some response like a bot. Not saying any names in particular. I'm just saying. So I want to know, what do people think? Am I onto something with this theory? Am I onto something by saying when Bitcoin gets kicked out, XRP will take its position, not Ethereum, and then Uh, and then Flare will take XRP's old position because it won't be Litecoin. Litecoin was exposed as a scam long time ago. So it's not going to be Litecoin. It's not going to be these other expensive coins because retail learned their lesson. They're not going to put in $100 to get one thing plus fees when they can spend the same 100 plus a fee on getting thousands of more somewhere else. The game is up, and the elite are going to be ticked if they're not already. So you guys have a good day. Leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I'm out.